And I think it's important that women understand that their risk of dying of a heart attack and of a fracture is higher than their risk of dying of breast cancer. The risk of breast cancer, lifetime risk of breast cancer amongst women in the UK is 1 in 8. That risk in Indian women is 1 in 29. We are so far away from that data. If you look at trends, it has been steadily increasing in India.
Yeah.
You've not been prescribing hormone therapy.
I think our moms and grandmoms didn't know about it or didn't have access. Today we have access and knowledge, but I think that knowledge is so scattered about HRT or hormone replace treatment that do you want to just break it down to a bare minimum for us to understand what it is, what it does, possible side effects or not, and why you recommend it or not?
So, the term HRT or hormone replacement therapy, very recently there is a shift in nomenclature and they're addressing it as menopausal hormone therapy. We don't always use only drugs for only FDA approved indication. Estrogen and progesterone. Now, if we look at, how do we use it? There are different formulations and there are different components. A woman who has a uterus requires estrogen along with progesterone because estrogen alone can cause her endometrial lining to what we call hyperplasia, become hyperplastic, and then develop into endometrial cancer. So a woman on estrogen with a uterus always has been given progesterone. Woman who has had a hysterectomy, which means a uterus has been removed, she can take only estrogen. She doesn't need progesterone. Now, that school of thought is also changing now because now we've identified that progesterone has multiple roles, including on our mood and on our sleep, our feeling of anxiety, vigilance, and hence now some women who've had a hysterectomy also, we do prescribe progesterone if she continues to not sleep and doesn't feel good. So that still remains on the table. What are the advantages of taking estrogen and progesterone or MHT? One of the biggest indications is preventing osteoporosis. And the thing is, when do we prevent it? Before it happens.
Yeah.
When does it not happen? When they are still 45, 50, which means typically every woman should be exploring it. At least explore it. A simple test is a bone densitometry. It's accessible most places. It's not very expensive. One can get at least a basic one done to look at their spine, their hip. These are the common areas of fracture. Some scans will also do your forearm and other parts. But the point is to get an idea, where do I stand today? And if you are already osteopenic or not, your bone mineral density is not that great, it's definitely a great indication to start off hormone therapy. By a few years of time. A common question that I hear is, but for how long can I take it?
Yes.
We don't know. We don't know yet, but we are looking at data coming in. If you look at the original WHI or Women's Health Initiative study, they cut it short in, I think, close to 5.2 years. And we have that data, and it's clear that it reduced fracture risk. And it is clear that it reduced the incidence of diabetes and it reduced all-cause mortality. So we have that data with us, but we chose to focus on the risk of breast cancer.
Right.
Yeah. So I think breast cancer is the biggest fear amongst women. I don't want hormones. I'll get breast cancer. And I think it's important that women understand that their risk of dying of a heart attack and of a fracture is higher than their risk of dying of breast cancer. So if there is, look at it differently, the risk of breast cancer, lifetime risk of breast cancer amongst women in the UK is 1 in 8. That risk in Indian women is 1 in 29. We are so far away from that data, right? If you look at trends, breast cancer risk trends, it has been steadily increasing in India.
Yeah.
We've not been prescribing hormone therapy. How are these women getting breast cancer? They're not getting it because of hormone therapy. They're getting it because they're doing everything else, right? Breast cancer, again, like sleep, is a function of many different things. If you look at it, the amount I exercise per week, my body weight, if I smoke, if I drink, whether I do night shifts, all of this impacts my risk of breast cancer to a degree equal to or much, much, much more than my risk of taking hormone therapy. And if we look at it in that sense, hormone therapy is just one bit of the many factors that can increase my risk of breast cancer. Am I taking care of the rest? The rest is all modifiable. Why am I not doing anything about that? So I feel like if we look at the trends, and that is an eye-opener. Why is the risk of breast cancer in Indian women steadily going up, especially in urban areas?
Right.
It is going up because we are not doing everything.
The lifestyle combined with Indian women taking HRT, will it accelerate the numbers of 1 in 29?
I think that's a very interesting question. But if we look at old data, because right now we don't have that data, but if we look at, let's just go back to the WHI. And if you look at their follow-up studies, which were published in 2013 and 2020, what they really found was when they categorized these women into different age groups, between 50 to 59, 60 to 69, and over 70, they've then started focusing on women between 50 to 59, because that is closer to the natural age at menopause, when women would actually start hormone therapy. And if you look at that data, the risk of breast cancer in that group with those drugs, and those drugs are not the drugs we use anymore.
Yeah.
I usually say that it's like saying that whether you use ghee or kerosene in your khichdi vagar, it's going to taste the same. No, they're different. Just because they are oil, it doesn't mean they have the same function and the same impact. So even if you take the old drugs, which they used in the WHI, the risk of breast cancer in women between the age of 50 to 59, there were only 6 extra cases out of 10,000 women per year of use.
Right.
That is categorized as a rare risk.
Right.
But if you look at the fracture risk, there were 25 less fractures per 10,000 women. There were 10 to 11 less cases of diabetes per 10,000 women. The all-cause mortality was lower in women who took hormone therapy. So the media just came out with this. There was a reduction in colorectal cancer. So why are we not looking at this data?
Right. We should look at all aspects of the data.
Exactly.
And tell me, how is HRT given? Because I think sometimes we just dread something because we don't know the form.
Right. So there are different forms. We have oral, we have transdermal, and by transdermal, it means absorption through the skin. Now,
It could just be a patch.
Absolutely. So India doesn't have patches yet. I'm hopeful that they will come out with it. But we do have the gel, we have the spray. Gel is very easily available. Progesterone is dispensed as an oral tablet. But both these compounds now, they're very different from those compounds in the sense that they are bioidentical. And when we say bioidentical, these are the same chemicals, the same estradiol, the same progesterone that my body naturally produced during my menstruating years. It's the same compound.
Right.
And by dispensing it or by using it transdermally, I am getting rid of a lot of side effects, which I would have had I taken it orally. Because when I take a drug orally, it goes through the liver, estrogen changes my clotting factors, and it can increase my risk of stroke and blood clots. But when I use it transdermally, that risk goes away. So, we have better drugs, we have better formulations, and we're living much longer.
Yeah.
We're going to have to look at it as a 30, 40, 50-year-old plan.
How are we planning our today for that long-term plan?
Yeah, I think that whole, what I used to love about listening to Peter Attia is he talks very often about backcasting.
Yeah.
And after I heard that term backcasting, I do it every day. So every birthday, I kind of announce on my 50th birthday, I announce to my kids, now I have only 50 left.
Yeah.
So I've crossed midline now. And I turned 53 a few days ago, and now I keep telling them I've got only 47 left. So, and I visualize myself as a 90-year-old traveling by myself and being able to put my cabin luggage overhead while I'm traveling. So I think if I keep that goal in mind,
Yeah.
it means I must work it out backwards, which means I have to be able to do it today
Yeah.
if I want to do it as a 90-year-old. And then I'm keeping a 10-year buffer where